welcome back to End Zone Rush. I am your host, Caleb, and today I will be talking about some notable players from the East and West Shrine Bowl yesterday. If you don't know, the East and West Shrine Bowl is like a all-star game for college football alongside the Senior Bowl. Anyways, before we get into it, make sure you like, subscribe, and let's go. I'm going to start off with number one before we get started. The numbers don't mean anything. It's just the number I wrote them down in. So there's 10 players. At number one, again, no meaning for the numbers. I got Cam Miller, who is a quarterback from North Dakota State. He was on the East team. Cam Miller really stood out to me because his ability to throw on the run was pretty good. I remember seeing this one play. It was, I think, at the beginning of the second quarter. He was rolling out, and he got hit and was getting tackled, but he was able to get a Superman throw, and it was a catch. So that's what made me be like, yep, he's going on this list. He had another good throw on the run. His ability, yeah, I just really like his ability to get out of the pocket. Like, he can't do it every time, but if there's somewhat of an available lane, he takes it and gets it. But in the final 6 minutes of the first half, he did botch 2 snaps. And also, he just doesn't have that great of a spiral, which just makes me nervous about his ball handling. But from everything else, he looked pretty decent. Next up, got the offensive MVP. I'm going to go with Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, a running back at Arizona. From Arizona. University of Arizona, I should say. He was on the East team as well. There's only 3 people that are on the West team, so. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, easily the entire game MVP. Had just amazing stats all across the board. 2 touchdowns, I think, like 14 rushes and 97 yards. I was really impressed with his ability to get to hit the open spaces with speed. If he saw it, he just took it, and that's what makes me really excited to see him playing on Sundays. Yeah. Next up, I'm gonna go with Shamari Simmons, who's a defensive back at Arizona State, who is on the West team. Shamari Simmons seemed like the only player that can actually tackle Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt by himself, at least, because it looked like it took like 2 to 3 people to take down Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt because of how fast he was going. But Shamari Simmons just was able to get there and get him out of bounds or just get him down. And as one of the announcers said, I don't know who, but I remember hearing one of them say, he see ball, he want ball, which is exactly what I think of him. If he sees someone wide open in space, he's gonna go get them and gonna get them well. Anyways, next we got Deshaun Pace, a linebacker for UCF. He was on the East team. This guy didn't make any star-studding plays, but he, just like Shamari Simmons, he was able to get to the ball like 6 plays in a row, I think. Every time he was the person either getting the tackle, getting the incompletion, or just not allowing a play to happen, which made me really like him, and that's the reason why I have him on this list. I forgot to say he was a linebacker at UCF. He was on the East team. But yeah, I really like what he was doing. It was the 4th quarter, so it really didn't matter because it was already 25-0. But yeah, he was just always there, and he left an impression on me, and I feel like he looked like a 4th round pick. He probably wasn't as good as I think he was, but to me he looked pretty good. Next up at defensive back also, I'm going to give it to Tyron Herring, who's defensive back from Delaware on the East team. He had one of the game's picks. There were many turnovers. A couple of them were picks. He had one of those. And he also had some pretty other good plays, like I remember the West threw a ball way up. I don't know who the quarterback was, but a receiver came up and caught it, and then he was just there to lay the receiver out, and it was an incompletion that was reviewed to see if it was a fumble, but it was an incompletion. Yeah, so that's a big reason why I have him on his list. His aggression is amazing, and he's always just ready to make a play. So, just like Deshaun Pace, so that's why, and I guess Shamari Simmons, so that's why he's on this list. Next up is the defensive MVP. They gave it to O'Donnell Fortune, who's a defensive back for South Carolina on the East team as well. O'Donnell didn't really stick out to me that much, except he was the only player to get a defensive touchdown. He had a pick six and two pass deflections, but minus those, he didn't really stand out too much to me. Like, he definitely deserves to be on this list, definitely. But I feel like I just was forced to include him because he was the MVP. But he had a couple good plays, and then just like I feel like he's a probably fifth, sixth round pick at best. But he was just ready to make a play. He didn't really get to though, unlike the three guys before him that I just talked about. But yeah. Anyways, we're going back on offense to the West team. We got Antoine Wells, who is a receiver at Ole Miss. Antoine Wells is the only receiver on this list because he was the only receiver that I felt worthy to put on this list, minus Nick Nash, but he's not on this list. Antoine Wells, I'm pretty sure, had the most receptions, I think. Probably wrong, but whatever. Yeah, he was just, if no one was open, he was open, and, yeah, he just kept getting receptions, and they were for at least like 5, 6, 10, 15 yards each. He hardly even had like 2 1-yard receptions. But he didn't have any touchdowns, which I wish he did, because that would prove his case to be on this list. But he stood out to me, unlike some other people. He probably didn't stick out to them. Like Deshaun Pace probably didn't stick out to other people either, but they did to me. And it's my list. So next up, I got Andrew Henry, who's a running back for New Mexico. He was on the East team. He was sharing the backfield with Ja'Cory Cross-Game-Merritt, and the fact that they were both able to put up that much production, sharing half the reps together, is just beyond me. I couldn't believe they were able to do that. But yeah, I'm really surprised how they're able to put up those many numbers. Tyler Batty, I feel like more was the power back, and Cross-Game-Merritt was the elusive back, which makes a pretty good duo. And they were probably the main reason why the East got a dub. Yeah. And did I accidentally just say? So next up, I got Tyler Batty. I don't know if when I was talking about Andrew Henry, I don't know if I accidentally said Tyler Batty. If I did, I'm sorry. But next up, we got Tyler Batty, who's an edge from BYU. He was on the West team. Tyler Batty was getting talked about by the announcers a lot, and I saw why. He was always shedding blocks, getting to the quarterback, making him throw quickly. I don't think he got any sacks, but yeah, he was just always getting to that cornerback, applying pressure. And every time he was on the field, the play was only about 5 seconds max. And finally, we got Tonka Hemingway, who's an interior defensive lineman for South Carolina. He was also on the East team. He was the defensive lineman on the East team that was really sticking out. He had a pass deflection. I'm pretty sure he had 2 sacks. He had a fumble recovery, maybe, or no, forced fumble, one of the two. I think probably not, but whatever. Yeah, he was just like Tyler Batty. He was always shedding blocks, getting to that quarterback, and just like Tyler Batty, every time he was on the field, the plays probably lasted 7 seconds because he was on the field a lot. yeah, so those are the 10 notable players that really stuck out to me during the Shrine Bowl. I will be doing a video just like this for the Senior Bowl. So to not miss that video, like, subscribe, put that notification bell on, and I'll see you guys next time. End Zone Rush out. Peace.